coronavirus is going to destroy the housing market. True or false? My friends, today in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 reasons why the coronavirus cannot and will not take down this real estate market. Everything they can to stimulate, saying buy, 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 buy. The biggest thing that the government can do, I believe, to help us out and make sure that we don't have any kind of downturn. It's the same scenario like we saw in 2008, except the circumstance is entirely different. This is not like a recession. This is something entirely different. We have a worldwide pandemic like we had 100 years ago with Spanish flu. And right now, everyone wants to know the same things they wanted to know in 2008. Is it going to crush the market? Today, I'm going to share with you the 7 reasons why it's not. But I want you to know that in 2008, I bought up thousands of homes in Phoenix and Vegas with my partners, in other hot markets. And I'm telling you right now, this is not the same thing. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that there's not huge opportunity in this real estate market, but this is not one where you want to bury your head in the sand. In fact, right now, there's a huge opportunity for you and I to show up and help clean up this economy. But first, the 7 reasons why this market is not going to crash. Reason number 1, we have a shortage of inventory when it comes to the real estate housing market. Did you know that we're still recovering from 2008? Every year, Americans demand an additional 1 million new houses to take care of our population. But the reality is, Freddie Mac says we are still 3.3 million houses too short, and we've had a shortage month over month over month for the last decade, every month in a row. We are actually consistently over 3 million behind, and unfortunately that number is getting worse. And for that reason alone, we don't have a bubble, there's nothing to burst. So that's the first reason why the housing market is not gonna crash. Reason number 2, mortgage rates are too low. I mean, we haven't below 4% for some time. And right now, if you take a look at it, the economy and the government are doing everything they can to stimulate, saying buy, 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 buy. Right now is actually the perfect time for you to be buying real estate with these low rates. And for that, that's another reason why the housing market is not gonna crash. And reason number 3, subprime mortgage loans are down. What that means is we've got more Americans that are being fiscally responsible, they've got better credit, and historically today are actually saving more money by 8% instead of 3% from 2008. Bottom line is we're flush with simply a lot more capital. And point number 4, Americans are flush today with home equity. According to the Federal Reserve, we collectively own $18.7 trillion worth of real estate, and of all of that, 64% of that is an equity stake, which means we've got a lot of home equity. And guess what? If the market comes down, we could still have that happen, and we still have this great safety net of equity in our homes. So we may have lost our money and might be underwater in the stock market, your 401ks might be suffering, your IRAs might be suffering, but guess what is not suffering? The value that you still have in your net worth based on equity in your home. So collectively what that means is that what's gonna avoid that kind of downturn is the fact that we still have room to breathe even if the market were gonna come down, not gonna happen. And point number 5, right now the government has said to suspend and put a moratorium on foreclosures. This is probably the biggest thing that the government can do, I believe, to help us out and make sure that we don't have any kind of downturn. Right now, if you've lost your job, I mean, 32% of businesses have gone out. That's a lot of people with unemployment. Last week alone, 2.5 million people filed for unemployment. And so with that big of a problem, what is the number 1 expense that Americans have in their life? It's their home. And fortunately, the government has told all banks and lenders that they need to put a moratorium for the next 60 days on any foreclosures. And if you look deeper into that, there's a good chance that as long as the coronavirus hangs around, as long as people can't get back to work, they're likely gonna keep extending that. And by the way, for someone that owns a whole lot of real estate, super grateful because it means, guess what? We can keep growing and we can be okay. We can keep our heads above water because the government's got our back. Point number 6, did you know during recessions that real estate has a higher likelihood of going up than down? In fact, 3 of the last 5 recessions show that real estate has gone up in value. Now, the US Census Bureau has shown that since 1963, in that entire period of time, that real estate has gone up an average of 4.6% year over year over year over year, but during recessions, average is only 4%. So if you think about that, instead of growing 4.6, I'm growing 4%, it's a great trajectory. Right now, this is one of the things that I love most about real estate is that the housing crisis and the stock market crisis or a recession, they often don't go together. 3 out of 5 times that hasn't been the case. So there's a higher likelihood that what we're sitting in right now and the circumstances of this being different than a recession, more like a global crisis, is that we're going to see this temporary shortfall, but we're going to see it pick back up. And because we don't have a bubble again, like I said before, that means that real estate, we need more of it. We don't have an overage of it. We actually have people needing homes. We just don't have enough. That's another reason why we're likely not going to face a housing crisis. And number 7, humans always need a place to lay their head and go to bed at night and feel secure as they sleep. Right now, that's one of the biggest things that is driving this crisis right now is security. We want a place to call home. You know, we actually have seen a trend over the last decade that we used to have 70% of all homes owned and 30% rented, and we've seen that decrease. A lot of millennials, they've got the money there in the workforce, but they want a different lifestyle, and ownership is not as important to them. We've seen that number drop now into the 60s, and it's projected over the next decade to drop into the 50s. But whether you own or whether you rent, you still need a place to call home. You're not just going to go homeless, and because we do have a shortage, all of that adds up to a 7th great reason why we are not going to face a housing crisis. Those, my friends, are the 7 reasons why we are likely not going to face a housing crisis. One of the things that I want you to understand is that real estate since 2008 has been an amazing vehicle for investing and for getting ahead. In fact, ask yourself, if you've owned a home for the last 10 or 15 years that has likely gone up a ton in value, don't you sometimes wish that you could go back in time and say, man, if I had just bought a second house, twice the equity, man, if I had bought 5 houses, 5 times the equity. A lot of you are sitting on $50,000 or $100,000 of equity, and if you had 10 homes with $100,000 of equity, you'd be a millionaire. That's what got me interested in the game of real estate. I'm making this video because I have a total crush on the real estate housing market. I love understanding it, I love breaking it apart, and I love investing in it. Most days, I buy a house. I go to the hottest markets, I buy them. And if you are feeling financially insecure because of this coronavirus, it might be because you have a single stream of income. What gives me security is that I have multiple streams of income. In fact, I've got money coming in from several different places. Every time I get one set up and automated, I just set up the next one. If you only have 1 or 2 or 3 streams of income, you might feel better if you had 5 or 10, and real estate should be one of those, in my opinion. If you'd like to learn how to leverage real estate so that you can financially get ahead or have another stream of income, if you're interested in a passive stream of income or an active stream of income, you have an opportunity to connect with me and my team. I've got a team of people that I have trained over the years to step in your shoes and look at your finances the way I would if I were you, to basically perform what I call a custom game plan. And if you decide to click the link below and talk to my team, you've got a couple of roads that you can go down. You might say, you know what, I've got some equity, I've got some 401ks, IRAs, I don't trust the stock market right now. Do I have alternatives? Kris talks about earning 20, 30% annual ROIs on his money. How does he do that? You could go down another path and you could ask about business and say, Kris has active incomes where he's making $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more a month in some of his businesses, but putting in only a handful of hours. Whether you're looking for active income or passive income, get a game plan, get a fresh perspective, take an opportunity to see the world through my eyes. If you would like that opportunity, go ahead and click the link below and fill out your information. My team will contact you and we'll get all of that information to you to help you figure out what life looks like next for you financially. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked this, would you do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button? It tells YouTube to syndicate and share with other people. You can share it yourself, but more importantly, make sure you're a subscriber. Most days I come out with a video that is designed to help you financially awaken that inner genius and become your highest and best self, because we've got this one life to live and it is about living limitless. Thank you so much, friends. We'll see you tomorrow.